She was the Virgin Queen, glorious, unmarried, unmatched. But when death came for Elizabeth I in 1603, it didn't come quietly. It crept in like fog over the Thames, cold, confusing, and terrifying. In her prime, Elizabeth was a force of nature. She survived political betrayals, plots, and even assassination attempts. She turned England into a world power. But by the turn of the 17th century, time was no longer on her side. By the time of her death, Elizabeth was nearly 70 years old, an advanced age for her time. She had lost many of her teeth. What remained were likely blackened, decayed, and loose, common outcomes of a diet rich in sugar, which had become increasingly popular among the English nobility during her reign. The stench of rotting teeth and infected gums would have been overpowering at close range. Without modern dental care, advanced gum disease, periodontitis, and abscesses were common, and Elizabeth likely suffered from both. Chronic infections in the mouth could give off a sickly sweet yet putrid odor, intensified in the warm, close quarters of her bedchamber during her final decline. Elizabeth likely dealt with constant discomfort or pain when eating. Chewing would have been difficult, if not impossible. Pus-filled abscesses, ulcers, and raw gums would have made any pressure unbearable. In the final months of her life, Elizabeth I became a living ghost in her own palace. Racked with paranoia, she refused to sleep, refused to sit, refused even to change her clothes. For 10 days, she stood, rigid, gaunt, and delirious, in a cold corner of Richmond Palace, eyes hollow, lips cracked. She believed if she lay down, death would seize her. She muttered to herself. She flinched at shadows. Her eyes, once sharp as cut glass, darted around the room like prey expecting a predator. Some say she saw ghosts, those she'd executed. Mary, Queen of Scots, Robert Devereux, perhaps even her mother, Anne Boleyn, not as a victim of her hand, but of the crown itself. And then she collapsed. She was moved to her bed, finally unable to resist. In the early hours of March 24th, 1603, Queen Elizabeth I died at Richmond Palace. She was 69 years old. Her death was probably the result of a mix of physical and mental decline, with infection, dehydration, and organ failure contributing to her peaceful but drawn-out end. On the day she died, Queen Elizabeth I was a frail, hollowed figure, bald, toothless, and sunken-eyed, lying silently in a dim, musty room heavy with the odors of decay, sweat, and stale perfume. Stripped of royal illusion, she was no longer a queen but a dying woman, withered, worn, and utterly human.